Way that it is, but here we go. We're getting into the draft. Losers finals, 3 out of 5. Me and Kello are going to be staying on the mic because Spreggles and Zoinks need to go prepare for their grand finals commentary. They're going and dipping their faces in ice water and such to get prepared. But Luminosity Gaming on the left, Unique Coaching on the right. Both of them yelled something. I didn't hear either one.
They said they need ice water. I don't know whether we're going to actually end up seeing some ice water Pokemon come on out. We've seen a fair bit of Lapras here today, but you know what? We do have some water. Gyarados. That can go spurt some water in your face if you want.
I don't want that, if that's okay.
Well, Spraggles and Zoinks do.
yeah, that can be good for them. We saw Jail hovering over the Sableye for a quick moment. That would be a really interesting option, but going for a very quick Eldegoss. Of all of the supports that we're talking about, obviously 3 of them got banned. We didn't get a chance to talk about the bans as it just started, but Eldegoss is going to be one of the few remaining, and I don't think Luminosity Gaming cares all that much. They're a big fan of playing comps that don't actually contain any true supports, just a lot of attackers with that EXP share on it.
Well, we do have Kyrios that has locked in the Zacian, and we actually get to see Otter on the Mew this time around. Look, this is what I'm saying. Yes, you have 3 supporters banned on out. Otter is rocking that experience share so far, whether they're actually going to switch it out. But this is a common look that we've seen from them throughout the season.
Oh yeah, this is the most common look probably throughout the season. We've seen a little bit less recently just because there are a lot of other really good support options, but especially I'd say at the start of the season, Otter on that Mew support has it's their signature. And it looks like we're going to get the Mewtwo support, which is a combination that as well we have seen from them. I'm not really sure who they could go for the last pick. They usually go pretty aggressive altogether, so yeah, something like a Speedster would make a ton of sense.
Yeah, Leafeon getting locked on in by Trainer. We have talked about the early game presence this Pokemon can have, especially with those double stacking items. What is Unique Coaching going to round out this composition? We do have a bunch of Stun over on their side, Snorlax, Alolan, Ninetales, along with a Buzzwole. And you know what? They're going to round it out with this Aegislash. I actually really like this pick. Wide Guard is such a great defensive tool, but also it can just play so aggressively if we have Luminosity Gaming fighting as a bunch.
I really like a lot of this comp in general. Unique Coaching, they're going for a really burst-focused comp, right? They've got tons of burst damage with Lutano on the Alolan Ninetales, Uguay being able to just kind of jump in with the Heavy Slam, which is I'm assuming what we're going to see, and Chisel being able to dunk, or honestly there's a bunch of different things you can do with Buzzwole now, and then the burst that we have from the Aegislash. And against a team that has no true healing, or no true, I guess I could even say protection, right? You are, well I guess they technically have coaching, but your burst is going to mean a lot, because if they are not going to be able to use their Unites and try to get away, nobody's going to be stopping them from getting KO'd, so you can just jump on them and try to set them to a 5v4 very quickly. And on top of that, I do agree. Aegislash, we saw it one time in Europe, and I thought it worked amazingly against the current meta.
Yeah, especially with that Unite move as a last-ditch effort to try and get a secure. But it's whether you actually want to save it or use that for an engage. We're going to have to see what Vin Diesel does. But they've actually switched on up their items here. They do have the Cell Bracer.
All right.
I got it right this time around.
I believe you. I don't trust myself to say the right thing. But yeah, we can see actually the new items on 1, 2, 3. Oh, I didn't quite get the full thing. I can turn around and actually see. So we see 1.
Wait, do we need to...
Yeah, we got to get closer. Oh, that's gone. They took it away from us. They took it away. We need to watch the entire game with Kello just standing there on the screen. But all right, so again, like I said, this is losers finals to see who's going to be taking on Orange Juicers in grands. This is going to be 3 out of 5 sets, so the first one of many, regardless if even it is a sweep, as we're going to see Luminosity on the left, Unique Coaching on the right, and already we see Overlord and Otter pretty far away from their goal zone.
Yeah, they are far away, trying to keep this Buzzwole at bay, but it looks like they have their half HP, so they're just going to play it safe, leaving their Bumblebees for the time being, making sure to go for that neutral one first.
And Otter and Overlord both very low off the bat. Again, you know, they're not going to have any extra healing. They do have the berries, and they were able to get away, but that's going to be a very aggressive path with the Chisel up there alongside that Eldegoss, currently Gossifleur. Down on bottom, the Alolan Ninetales and Snorlax lane. That has been a path that we've been seeing for 1 million years, I think. I'm pretty sure that's when this game came out, and it is very scary, very hard to get away from if they start to burst on you early on.
Well, they are the Unks after all. Otherwise, an engage from Vin Diesel onto Slashcan, who's trying to make a quick escape. Even though they've popped their X attack, they're not utilizing it, getting pushed up against the wall by 3 members. They're not left standing, but 4 members of You Need Coaching are here to empty out all of their AOS energy, leaving this goal on 29 points.
Curious with a very early evolution, but then immediately seeing like 4 members behind them. They do get supported though, and we're going to get be a very, very early KO from Curios. I mean, that's an 8-minute, 20-second KO. Usually you only see an 8-minute, 20-second even evolution, but a great way to evolve and then immediately use that waterfall to get out of danger, which is gonna be a sign of obviously which moveset they're playing and the style that they're going to be playing as a team. Very aggressive, and aggressive is right as they're going to get that first KO on Machisel. Immediately going into the center area, Lutano trying to find a 1v4, not getting out. This is already looking so aggressive.
4 members into the enemy central area, being able to get multiple KOs. We have Eldegoss being able to dunk in some points up in the top lane. 54 points to 77 so far, but I already spy a Leafeon on Luminosity at level 8 with their Unite move.
That's not good. I mean, it's good for them, obviously. Yeah, we are not even 20 seconds away from the first objectives, and already, look at this, Trainer Otter combo looking pretty scary right there. Machisel already been getting taken out a few times. You can see Machisel actually lower level than the Eldegoss, which is not something that you want to happen early on in the game. Getting those levels, making those EXP shares work a little bit less is just unfortunate. So we got to see them make a comeback, and it does seem like most of Unique Coaching is going to be focusing up top at the Regieleki, most of Luminosity Gaming down on bottom. Oogway maybe going to go for a steal. Heavy Slam does have that great ability to steal. It's going to be difficult against these 2 Pokemon, but chance.
Oh! No, they didn't end up landing the Heavy Slam in time, but they are just going to moonwalk backwards with their block, able to make it back to pad, and because of that passive, they are now pretty much at full HP.
Right, yeah, getting that extra HP from eating a berry. That was a really good attempt, I gotta say. I thought the Heavy Slam got it as well. Nice! Great barrier to push everybody back. Here's starting to get pretty low. Oogway getting taken down for the attempt, but Machisel finally getting in there, not quite able to grab on and get that KO. But Overlord coming back with Otter, just found a friend up in that center area, and now getting the flank on Machisel, who just melted. Lutano probably getting cut off here. I don't think they're gonna have a good chance of really getting too much going on. Overlord, though, very low, almost got KO'd right there. That was a little bit scary, but Agility honestly putting in a ton of work in all of these last fights.
I feel like that was a little bit of a revenge from earlier where Mewtwo ended up getting cornered out. Otherwise, Mew is going to pop their Unite move. They're able to actually make it back home and survive that fight.
They also scored like 17 points in their face in the middle of that last fight, so everything going pretty decently well for Luminosity Gaming. Their levels, you can tell, are pretty far ahead. Unique Coaching has managed to get some score in, which is good. Just getting 98, even if they don't score for the rest of the game, that's probably going to be enough to at least keep them competitive, I guess is the word that I would say. But right now, they really have to worry about experience. And as you can see right below where we are right now, a big invade again happening for Luminosity Gaming. They're trying to get all that XP. It looks like the buff went to Unique Coaching. We're going to see very, very low Vin Diesel, though, on that Aegis Slash. Hasn't been able to find the targets maybe that he's wanted so far. As Trainer looking to flank as well, and does find such a hugely behind pick. A big barrier pushing everybody back into the Flux Zone. And we are seeing I mean, this fight is so far to the east.
So far to the east, but maybe it's going towards the west as You Need Coaching are trying to take him on down. Zarshan ends up collapsing here. A great surf from Otter, using their boosted order to try and hit back at the Buzzwole, who ends up going in with the Ultra Swole Slam and sending him back home.
Unite coming out from Gyarados is going to actually manage to catch one. It was in the middle of an animation. It's not really going to matter all that much anyway. Getting taken down. And now most of the members here are healthy from the side of Luminosity Gaming. 4 members still here as well for Unique Coaching. They are going to pop that barrier. Vin Diesel diving in, but getting targeted by everybody. Coup de Grace comes out. Isn't able to finish anybody up, but 2 members going down now on the side of Luminosity Gaming. This is a 3v3, and Regirock is honestly staying pretty healthy. They're like, all right, well, I'm glad nobody's focusing on me, as we're going to secure Kyrgios use that waterfall at great angles to barely escape, but Chisel can't say the same, as there's going to be taken down by the Mewtwo combo. And now they've got the damage. Oh my goodness, look how low LG is.
Yeah, but this isn't going to stop them. They're going to slice up this Regirock, as Otter is doing a great job of zoning, making sure that You Need Coaching cannot make it in to steal it. I mean, we did have the attempt from Uruguay earlier on, but they're here left to defend against 5 members of LG. Lutano coming to join the fight, getting a huge stun. 2 members of LG have been wiped out.
I mean, Lutano getting 2 is really big. Machisel is jumping in, but they're just too weak, I think, to really take down the damage they want to. They are going to get a ton on Kyrgios. Kyrgios having to be united by Machisel to finally be finished off. Just doing such a great job of escaping. We've talked about it before this season. Kyrgios, an amazing player at knowing exactly when to back up. They're like self-sustaining no matter which Pokemon they play. In the meantime, by the way, we did see the Regieleki taken by You Need Coaching solo up top, Aegis/1v1 against that Pokemon, and it is going to force Luminosity Gaming to deal with it. We're down to the final 3 minutes, and look at all the experience on the side of Luminosity.
Yeah, there is a ton of experience. No yellow dots on the side of You Need Coaching, but looking at the levels, it is so close between these teams, even in terms of points. But we have another brawl down in the bottom. No, never mind. They're trying to trick me here.
I mean, I think that they wanted to see if they could get a pick, and as soon as they couldn't, I mean, we're about to hit that 2-minute, 30-second mark. You don't really want to overcommit in situations like that. Plus 3 members currently of Luminosity Gaming without the Unite move. 3 members as well on the side of You Need Coaching. I can't count. So I think both teams need to back up. They need to just wait a little bit longer. They don't want to not have those Unites in time for the final stretch. So we're just seeing patience. And I mean, 83 to 134, that difference is negligible, I would say. And level difference, pretty close as well. This is going to come down to a pretty even fight.
Yeah, but we do have Uruguay checking that tall grass, but LG were able to back on up. We do have the block coming on out, which means Uruguay doesn't get stunned by Slashcan's Psy Strike. Rayquaza has been enraged, is going to lure out some tornadoes. 2 members do end up getting hit in the bush, but a Pollen Puff to go and replenish their HP.
Lutano sitting very down south, trying to see if there's any back caps, but the engagement will start. Otter had to use that Surf, using the Unite as well to help with the engage. Vin Diesel's defensive option went down. Otter just going to be backing up. It looks like they're not fully engaging. Overlord, though, going to get a ton of damage. Uguay popping that Snorlax Unite to try to bring everybody up, but they still lost to Aegis Slash. That's going to be a 4v5, and Overlord's actually starting to do some damage onto this Rayquaza. Some points went in. It's 1 point difference at this point, but that's going to be Kyrgios going down next on the side of LG, a 3v4.
3v4, Eldor still has their Unite move. Snorlax is still pretty much at half HP, but they're going to get shredded down by this sword. Able to receive another Pollen Puff, ready to go back and defend. But look at this, Trainer with 48 points, going to double it as well. That is going to make LG in the lead at that minute mark.
That was a great catch there, ahead by a lot, and that means that we have to see You Need Coaching make a move. A big initiation, though, from Overlord. Uguay down to about 25 HP. Kyrgios is going to follow in as well. The Unite from the Eldegoss should bring everybody up. It's also going to do a good amount of damage to Kyrgios. Overlord at half, Otter at half, Lutano all the way down on the Tier 1 goal zone. They've been using that as almost a home base, but they realize they have to move. Rayquaza down to half-life itself as Machil tries to go in, but gets melted. Throws Overlord about 4 miles away in the meantime, but it's a flip, and Overlord is the one to secure Rayquaza.
And that was a team wipe on the side of You Need Coaching as well, so nobody is here to go and stop the dunks that are gonna rain on through. 40 points, making it 80, plus another 100 as well. LG, I mean, it was a late one, a slow Rayquaza fight, but that match, there was just so much action.
There was. I think I was doing my best Dupe Snacks impression. Not a very good impression, but boy, it just felt like I was talking forever in the middle of that fight. But that was a fun... I'm not that wise. I don't know if anybody is. But Luminosity is going to be on the left. You Need Coaching on the right for that second pick. And that does mean that they chose to be in second pick position on You Need Coaching.
Yeah, maybe they're trying to save something secret for that last pick, whatever it is. But we have these 3 supporters being banned on out. Once again, Blissey, Hooper, Psyduck, not seeing the light of day. And I mean, we were talking about ban the Suicune. Well, looks like LG, they are on top of it and locked this Pokemon out.
I do think that's a really smart choice, but that does also mean that they wouldn't solo pick it themselves as their first pick, right? Which is pretty interesting. They maybe, are just not playing around it on their team, because usually when you have a Pokemon that's kind of like the Pokemon to ban, you're not going to ban it out as the player or as like the left side, right? The first pick. Instead, they are first picking that Gyarados, which has been so powerful, and that's fully understandable. The Snorlax going to Uguay, who's been kind of a specialist on that. We used to see them as specialists more for the Trevenant, but the Snorlax has been looking amazing.
Yeah, but Machuzel is going to lock in their Zacian for themselves this time round. So switching it on up, looks like Otter is hovering over this Mew. It's funny because Mew is actually the Pokemon that has coaching. So does Luminosity, they said you need coaching. Does Luminosity Gaming need coaching?
You know what's funny? I actually made that joke last month.
Did you?
And I was like, you know why nobody's beat No Uni Coaching is because they haven't been choosing Mew. I think it was a stupid joke, but I'm glad that we both made the stupid joke.
Well, I guess it just demonstrates what we are then.
Yes. You know what's funny though is when you made the joke that time, I was like, I don't understand what you're saying. I was like, oh, wait a minute. I made that same one.
Wait, Comfey? We were talking about this earlier. Are we going to see the supporter? We do! JL's locked it in!
Yeah, well, actually, yeah, I don't know the last time that I've seen Uni Coaching playing Comfey. If we were gonna see Comfey, I thought maybe it'd be like a Luminosity like side pick here or something like that. But very interesting. I wonder if we're gonna see, what is Lutano gonna pick? This is a pretty interesting choice. Lutano can flex to a lot of different really important options. Now that we know that it's gonna be more of like a Comfey-based match, not that necessarily the Comfey is gonna be on Lutano, but yeah, you kind of want somebody who's not gonna have to worry about getting supported as much from the supporter when you have that Comfey. So I love the fact that they're choosing Snipe. They're going to be able to kind of play at their own range and not really have to have the rest of the team worry about them.
Well, when you have a Snorlax and a Zacian brawling up front, protecting Lutano, really, that's going to be the key come these team fights. But I think locking in this Inteleon, especially to counter the range that Mew can bring with their Solar Beam, the mid-range range that Curious can bring with this Alolan Raichu, it's just a matter of whether Lutano can land these snipe shots majority of this match.
Right, yeah. Or more importantly, I guess, after that last set, it's whether or not Luminosity Gaming is going to walk into the end of Lutano Snipe shots during this match. But no, I do believe in the Lutano Snipes. Been playing Sniper Pokemon for a long time. And honestly, hit so many important ones, even after all those weird misses in the middle of that Rayquaza fight, which he obviously admitted himself. I think the bigger question here is going to be how well will Lutano be able to get away from Trainer. Trainer on that Mimikyu, such a good pick from Trainer specifically, and it's, we could see either build, but regardless, I think that Trainer is going to be really good at trying to kind of hunt down that back line.
I think this is actually a really good adjustment from Trainer. Yes, they did play that Leafeon previous match, but Leafeon is known to be quite squishy. So I guess this just gives them a little bit more sustain, especially when you are going into an Inteleon. If they're able to land a Shadow Sneak, they can at least handle a few basic attacks from them.
Yeah, I think also Leafeon, while it is really good at soloing out, big backline targets, I think it's a little bit more successful at like kind of dealing more mid-range, because if you don't have anybody else supporting you in the backline and you're the only one diving the backline, a lot of times people can kind of eject button away as you're trying to unite them or something like that. There's just a lot of ways to not take your full amount of damage, and then you kind of have to chase, and it becomes a weird, awkward thing. But Mimikyu, once it gets on you, it is on you forever, and it is so difficult to deal with, and it unites you, and you're sitting there, and you're like, well, I just can't do anything. So that's just life, and here we go. Game number 2, losers finals. Luminosity Gaming up 1 game on the left, Unity Coaching on the right, and we'll see if that Mimikyu plan pans out. Absol as well. I feel like we didn't even really talk about that much.
No, Absol going undetected here. They are going to take that central area, looking to get that level 5. I mean, they have 2 crit Pokemon on the side of You Need Coaching, so they could actually do some big damage here.
Yeah, actually, that's a great point. Honestly, the Phalanx would have been a really good pick because of that, and I didn't think about that. But we haven't seen that much Phalanx this weekend. That's just a kind of little fun part of its passive. But right now. We're going to be playing a little bit slower. I think we've got a lot of Pokemon that need to kind of hit their power spike on the side of Luminosity Gaming. So despite the fact that Luminosity is usually pretty aggressive early on, yeah, they're going to have a few members that I guess that can. I mean, that was more like counter aggression, and defeating Trainer like that is a very, very scary thing.
Yeah, very dangerous considering they are at level 6 already. The highest level so far are those 2 level 5s on You Need Coaching. But because they were wiped out, all of those bottom lane birds end up going to LG there.
And Overlord just kind of flopping around. Look at the Chisel's waiting, like, come on, you want this bundle? Oh no, it's mine. Just kidding. Otter trying to get in with some help, but funny little standoff. But they're playing it pretty slow here, just sitting in the tall grass. Oh my goodness, Overlord getting so low. Is Overlord gonna go down? Is Otter gonna go down? Everybody's low. JL popping off for a little bit of extra damage, but there's Trainer, who's already been pretty fed. A 2 KO streak though for Machisel, with of course JL on top. Machisel +1, and Trainer has a huge health advantage here. They're not getting that heal off of JL, maybe not high level enough. The cooldown's still up, and they're both gonna go down. Uguay showing up a little bit late to that party.
Yeah, but 2 KO streak does go over to Trainer as we have Snorlax taking a nap, getting wiped out. But 51-21, it looks like LG are going to take the opportunity to get some dunks in this top path, but 3 members are here to come and defend.
And Vin Diesel, somehow level 8, by the way. I didn't actually know exactly how that happened, but was staying pretty high up to level after getting KO'd a little bit early on. So we are going to be really focusing, I think, on this Absol and what they can do, because they haven't been a part of a ton of the fights, except for, like I said, diving in, maybe not getting what they wanted to. Just as we get into fights later on. Right now, still, we're doing some kind of split, like 1v1s, 1v2s, which is exactly what we're seeing here, as Overlord playing the same build that Kyrios was playing last time, which is pretty funny to see 2 people on the same team do the same thing.
Did you just see that snipe shot from Latano onto Kyrios? They are needing to back away. It's going to be a Registeel, and Luminosity Gaming, they're not going to delay. But wait, no, they are going to delay and pounce on Latano, who has to back away. Vin Diesel has popped the Unite move, and Registeel's going to get reset here.
Ooh, that's a really unfortunate reset. They were really close to being able to just quickly take that for LG, but now they've got to deal with the fact that Lutano's still there. Lutano can steal, Vin Diesel can steal. No Unite from the Absol's big, but Trainer's getting jumped on immediately. Great heavy slam follow-up, but the return Unite coming out from Mimikyu means that it's going to be Vin Diesel going down. JL as well, quickly second, and Trainer's going to line up. Beautiful Shadow Sneak. That's going to be like a 4 KO streak, basically. Or maybe they only got 3, but 4 along the side. The Tier 1 Gold Zone going down undoubtedly. The Registeel going down undoubtedly. LG kind of running away with this one early on.
They are running away with it. They have that Mimikyu already at level 10. However, we do have 2 level 10s already on the side of You Need Coaching. They are just going to regather up in this top path as Overlord ends up catching a sweet Kiss Comfey and the Zacian in this tall grass.
Yeah, that would explain why they weren't getting heals earlier. That's really an interesting strategy. We'll talk about that one when I get a chance to think about it. But Overlord and Trainer all up here, and Kyrios, this is scary. You honestly, yeah, you kind of got to back up. We do see, a few members able to defend here. A great wall, but only pushing them back into the Flux Zone, and popping that so the Unite from JL is going to give them a little bit of an advantage, but only for a short amount of time, as 3 members now down for You Need Coaching. That Gold Zone going down. Their second Tier 1 already fallen, and Lutano, well, Lutano's doing a good amount of damage for the backline. It's just not enough. The Shadow Sneak from so far away. Trainer is an absolute monster on this Pokemon.
This is what we were talking about earlier. It's so hard for this Inteleon to escape, but Mimikyu ends up getting taken down as Vin Diesel is trying to take down Overlord, chucking their waterfall, giving them shields, and taking the Absol out instead. 2 KO streak for Gyarados.
This has been so much fighting. There are so many KOs in this game, but surprisingly, the level difference not as big as it could be. I will say, though, Trainer has been absolutely just running it down. The biggest thing, though, is that they did manage to get kind of reverse KO'd in that last fight, so a lot of return AXP went the way of You Need Coaching. The points lead, I would say, is pretty significant. They've really got to be careful. The fact that they don't have their Tier 1 Gold Zones as well means it's going to be harder for them to make a comeback. Unite coming out from Trainer, and that's going to be them actually getting KO'd. No real follow-up there. They're like, please help me, as the Unite's going to come out now as well from Overlord. They're going to try to steal away this Regieleki, and I don't think... Oh, no, they were able to get it.
Yeah, it ended up being Overlord on the Gyarados to lock it on down. Comfey without anybody to attach to is going to get wiped out, but that is a 3 KO streak for Kyrgios on the Alolan Raichu. 194 to 72 points. Regieleki making its way towards his 2-2 pad. Slash Can potentially looking for a pick, but it looks like they're just trying to delay this Regieleki from quickly getting shredded down.
This is a really tough spot. The Registeel, by the way, getting taken uncontested, but this is such a tough spot for the side of Unique Coaching. They're losing so many fights all in a row. I don't really know what they can do, and they're still being forced to fight as there's an invasion in their center area. 2, 3 of them going down all at once. Overlord's getting pretty low. If they can get the KO there, that's going to be huge, and they do actually manage to get that KO, but in return, an ace, a full team wipe coming from Luminosity Gaming. This goal zone fully going down. The next Regieleki to spawn will be heading towards that Zapdos play, and this just looks like Luminosity Gaming has no mercy. They want to earn their rematch up against Orange Juicers. Trainer, though, going down. That's a lot of EXP going back the way of Unique Coaching, but 14 on 2 Pokemon for LG.
Yeah, that is definitely going to leave Unique Coaching in a scary position, but they're not going to let up just yet as they're going to try and pressure this Tier 1 pad. But we quickly have Zacian being shredded on down, along with the Comfey and the Snorlax, and LG, they're just rushing towards him, taking KO after KO.
This is going to be such a high KO game. I really want to see the stats page for this. Kyrgios is going to have to back, not going to be able to try to take down that Regieleki. I feel like certainly you have to focus on this Regieleki if you're Luminosity, right? And then in return, you kind of have to defend against it if you're Unique Coaching. The fact they have the entire top path open, yeah, look at that. 4 of them all just sitting up there. They're able to burn that down very quickly, especially with Kyrgios being on this little Raichu. It's going to do so much just kind of average damage. Regieleki going down towards the main base at 2 minutes and 10 seconds. That's a nightmare scenario, but they might be going for an ambush.
Ooh, Uguay is going to dive on in, use their power nap to go and heal them. Slash getting such minimal HP, does end up getting wiped on down as we are going to take this fight into Unique Coaching central area. But no, LG, they're actually going to retreat on back and start chipping away at this Rayquaza.
Chipping away, maybe more like burning it down. It's already at almost half HP. They do see that there are some members coming in to try and stop them, so they are going to turn around. Rayquaza is going to reset, so that initial strategy of just auto-burning it down not quite going into play. Most of the members of Unique Coaching are sitting in their center area, starting to rotate down to that bottom path, but in the meantime, easily they could have taken Rayquaza. I just want to point that out there. Luminosity Gaming had plenty of time to actually do that, but they're ahead by so many points, and I'm not sure what's happening at this point, but I do got to say, this is a tough spot to come back for our friends here in Unique Coaching. And there we go. We can see the fight actually starting as we are going to now see 2 members of Luminosity Gaming down. Trainer will be coming back into the fight relatively soon. 1 minute left on the clock. 320 points lead for Luminosity Gaming as Rayquaza is starting to get pretty low. Kyrgios, 1 shot from being KO'd. Trainer at full life coming back into this, about to hit level 14, and it's going to be Lutano taking the final hit on the Rayquaza. A full team wipe. 45 seconds left. We see a ton of points in pockets, almost none for the Absol. That's going to be unfortunate. They need to score a lot. That's going to be another Hundo Burger up top. That's going to take them up to 272. They still need a Hundo Burger plus more.
30 seconds left to go. We have Mammoth Match coming on in, but it isn't able to stop Machisel from getting their dunk. They now have the lead, and 3 members of LG are down. I mean, this was an absolute intense final stretch, but, well, Unique Coaching, Latano able to take this one for their team.
Wow, I cannot believe they turned that around. Luminosity Gaming had such a lead, but when it came down to, I don't even want to call it the refight, it was like the re-fight. I don't even know, there might have even been more than that. They just weren't able to take the win, and of course, Lutano landing the snipe shot that truly he needed at that exact moment. Following that up with the full team wipe, and still, they barely had enough points to jump ahead. I mean, they were ahead by like, I don't know, 130 or something like that, but considering they got a full team wipe versus a team of 5, that is not the biggest lead that one could have. So a very scary game, and that does mean we're all tied up in this losers finals match.
Yeah, it really came down to the wire, but we wanted to see this stats page. We actually have something that isn't coming to an end just yet. It's only just beginning, is going to be this 3rd game.
Oh yeah, we might be in for another long one. You and I casted a 5-game best of 5 last or yesterday, I guess you say the last broadcast, but we might be going for the same thing in this one, as Luminosity is going to be taking first pick. Bans are relatively the same for them. We're seeing 3 supports banned altogether in this particular match. The Blissey off board, the Hoopa off board. So we'll see what everybody flexes to. And you can tell Luminosity just loves this Gyarados right now. I'd have to expect they're a big reason why that win rate is so high.
I feel like it's same old, same bans, same first picks for both of these teams. Kyrios and Otter continuing the same story. JL locking in the Comfey once again.
This might just be the same game over again. Are we watching a replay right now?
I'm not sure. I'm having major deja vu.
Me too. We are seeing mostly the same of kind of everything. All right, Lutano. Nope, I wanted to see you go back and play the Duraludon. Already 100% win rate on stream. Much better than this Inteleon. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. Is this an exact repeat of last game? Was anything different? Was Vin Diesel on Absol, or was it the game previous? I'm blanking, but really close to at least to a full repeat of the last game. And it just seems like confidence, right? They picked really quick as well. It almost looked like they were just redrafting.
They pretty much already knew what they were going in for. I mean, it was such a back and forth match between them, so why change something that isn't broken? It isn't these Pokemon, after all. This is just the first step. It comes down to the decisions that happen in games. So let's see if any different decisions come out this time around.
Yeah. I mean, it did come down to, like I said, it was like a refight into a refight into a refight. It was a lot of awkwardness. Okay, yeah, we did get confirmation this was the exact same comp both sides. I feel like I didn't get a chance to see Vin do too much action-wise last game. I guess we did early on, now that I'm remembering it. But yeah, wow, really impressive from both sides to see them completely redraft and just say, we know exactly what we did wrong, and we know what we can do better, and now we're going to do better than you're doing better.
Well, you know what they say, you learn from your mistakes. So whether they can actually demonstrate that, if they were to learn from their mistakes, then should go back the other way to Luminosity Gaming, unless Unique Coaching can do a 2-game streak here.
I mean, you can learn from your mistakes even if you won, right? I mean, again, I almost feel like they were... Okay, this is going to sound bad. Not to say that there was mistakes, but there were more situations that Luminosity was ahead in the last game than they were not ahead. So I think Unique Coaching can learn a lot from that as well, seeing if they can pick up more of the early game as we're going to go into game number 3. Luminosity Gaming on the left, Unique Coaching on the right, and truly a repeat.
It is a repeat down in that bottom path. We are going to see that Pikachu and Swinub tackle up against this Snorlax and Sobble. But Overlord, I mean, they're getting caught out here, being able to get in a lot of their effort gauge earlier on because Machizel and JL are playing so aggressively.
Yeah, very, very aggressively. They just really want to try and shut down this Magikarp, I think, early on. But Otter being the support there is huge. The biggest thing, though, is that they are going to be able to do damage that they're going to have to heal back with only berries, basically, at this moment, or sitting a really long time on the pad. So slowly, over time, they can try to chip them down, which is something that they've been slowly doing. We're going to see the assist as well from Vin Diesel coming up top, getting a little bit more experience as they're going to be fighting for this 850 spawn.
Yeah, the birds are about to come on up. We have members hiding in the tall grass, but Overlord is really close to evolving into a Gyarados, unless they end up getting cut on down. Ooh. Yes, they do, which does leave the option for Unique Coaching to push this T1 pad.
Lutano as well helping out with this, but we are going to see the return KO on Vin Diesel. Trainer catching 2 in a row, and now Lutano, you've got to be super scared of this situation. You get a little bit too close and it's over. You had to eject button out of there. Good stuff, but certainly just very scary as Overlord is going to be evolving at the 8 minutes 22 second mark, which is pretty good.
Yeah, now they are going to select that waterfall, straight crash into that Zacian and Comfey, looking to taking them down, but Comfey ends up going into the grass, potentially just to gather some flowers, but they really left themselves in a dangerous position there.
Yeah, oh, there we go. There's the Sweet Kiss, and pulling them in is going to be able to get that KO, but, or no, I'm sorry, the return KO. Overlord was the one that got the KO there. I just saw one person walking away, didn't realize who it was going to be. Both teams kind of walking to the other side, but Overlord very low, Otter very, very low, Trainer still here, still looking like an MVP player, and that was their big problem last game on the side of Unique Coaching, was the Trainer was just running away with things. It's looking to be a true repeat.
Yeah, well, we already have 2 level 8s on the side of LG. The highest level on the side of You Need Coaching is Vin Diesel on that Absol at level 7. But we do have another lot of Swabblers and Altarias about to spawn, just waiting in the tall grass as they are about to appear.
There's the sweet kiss. It's just going to only be pulling in one member. That was just going to be Slash. So they're not going to be able to get the KO that they really wanted to. Pretty tanky member standing up front. Good positioning from the side of Luminosity Gaming. But a lot of the farm going to be going to You Need Coaching. If you look at the levels, you can see that they're still behind, though, unfortunately, by a pretty decent amount. A lot of it's been because of all these KOs from Trainer and Curios as well, by the way, at level 9.
Yeah, we already have 2 Unite moves available if they want to go and fight this back. But Vin Diesel being really brave, knowing they have a Comfey pocket. But that's going to be a 2-for-1 deal for Trainer with that play with me. And we'll make that 3 because of that Registeel.
This is becoming very problematic. One of the biggest problems about using Comfey, even when it's not Sweet Kids Comfey, is the fact that if you're behind in levels, even whatever the Comfey is doing basically is not enough to really carry you through these fights. And it's certainly the same with Sweet Kids Comfey. Obviously, it's going to give you a little bit more burst at the start of a fight, so if you have a really, really high amount of burst, maybe it can do something, but you're still really fighting 4v5 under leveled, and it really shows, especially when it's something like a Mimikyu that's over-leveling you.
Yeah, well, when you're under-leveled, you don't exactly want to drag somebody closer to you that is a higher level.
Yeah.
We are just going to focus on getting some experience on the board for the time being, trying to get some Unite moves. It's only Latano, and as I say that, the Zacian also ends up getting the Unite move for You Need Coaching.
We should add Gross Kiss to the moveset of Comfey, where it pushes people away from you, makes them run away. They're like, no, I don't like that. Well, nice snipe shot from Lutano. I think getting that last hit of the Altaria there in the middle of the spawns. Oh, yeah, we got a little sneak peek over there of a Gyarados, who was doing some good things, I think, helping assist with that KO. But 166-27, huge lead from Luminosity Gaming. They've got the level advantage. They've got everything going for them. They've basically been in a winning position and lost in the literal previous game. So you cannot say, oh yeah, this looks like it's going to be a Luminosity game. But if they learned anything from last game, maybe they'll hold on to this lead a little bit better.
Yeah, you truly just never know. But we are only at that halfway mark, as you mentioned, 166-27. So a slower pace here for You Need Coaching. But a great snipe shot from Latano to chunk out half of the HP from Slash Cam there.
Yeah, Slash, a little bit of a big target on that Mamoswine, and it's a pretty big target against the Heavy Slam as well. Gets hit by another snipe shot. As in the back line, we're going to see Vin Diesel pop the Absol Unite. Unfortunately, not able to get a KO. Return Unite from Curios just do so much damage on top of where they were all standing. And, we're going to be able to keep up this Snorlax, give it that little bit of extra shielding as it gets out of there, but you're not going to be winning the fight. You're not going to be winning that objective. And it's to be seen as to whether or not you'll be able to defend this goal zone. Lutano standing pretty far away, using that rage to help defend. In the meantime, though, looks like You Need Coaching will be taking this Regieleki for free.
Well, you've got to divide and conquer, try and take what you can get. But we do have Alolan Raichu getting knocked on out. Once again, play with me straight onto that Inteleon. They are able to eject it out, but it ends up, oh my gosh, the block to save Latano there is insane.
Wow, Lutano and JL both at like 1 HP, just barely getting out of there. Really good stuff. But unfortunately, they still were not able to defend that goal zone. So really, they did their best, but they're just behind by so much. It's such a tough spot. Honestly, the levels actually have started to even out. It kind of was near the end of that fight, though. So they weren't able to really kind of play that kind of head-to-head. Now, though, not looking as bad.
They are actually even in levels here. Less than 100 points difference between these two teams. So You Need Coaching has made a comeback. Sweet Kiss Comfey is going to drag back Otter. They quickly get shut on down. And Midnight Slash isn't actually going to land its mark, but that is going to boost them to try and take down this Mamoswine. But they quickly need to retreat, wait for their movesets to replenish.
They actually were one hit away. Okay, Unite coming out here from Overlord is barely going to catch Vin Diesel, which in turn is catching JL. Almost was able to get away from it. Lutano, though, now getting kind of blocked by these wild Pokemon. Oh, Machizel's jumping in, really going for Overlord. Okay, Overlord is going to get away. The waterfall just being such an excellent way to get out of danger when you realize that you're kind of the last one in there. So just a little bit of a retreat. They don't want to give up more EXP when they don't have to. It's looking pretty even, but Slash actually getting caught out from the tall grass, was trying to zone, and this could be a fight over this last basement Reggie.
Well, we've already had 2 Reggie steals. We do have Otto utilizing their Unite move at the 2-minute 30 mark. 2 members of LG are down. Kyrios also joins the Fallen, and it looks like You Need Coaching are going to be able to secure this Reggie steal uncontested now. That is huge for them going into this final stretch.
Wow, this goal zone's definitely going down. Slash is the only one that's up. They're standing for positioning for vision in this center area. There is the potential here that you just kind of rip down this Rayquaza, but now that they've got the lead back, even if it's only by 1 point, I'm not sure if Unity Coaching wants to do that. They are going to hold on a very forward position. Unite coming out from the Absol, burning down Slash. Slash is going to get KO'd very, very quickly. 3 members chasing Otter over on the west side. Otter goes down to Vin Diesel as well. Finally starting to see that mileage come out, but in return, Oogway will get taken down. The Unite comes out, lands on Trainer, and Trainer getting taken out. Overlord, the only one left. They've got to be careful. There'll no Unite available. We thought earlier, Unite just came out, but got canceled. And Rayquaza going a second game in a row to the side of You Need Coaching.
They are currently 1 point difference, but with all these Ray shields, pretty much a full pockets on hand. Oh, the way they're able to go and get in that 48 and 50 to maximize the dunk on the T2, they don't need to go and push this home base. They have enough here, but there's still 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock.
There is. They're down by still a pretty significant amount, though, 277 points, and they've got to find a way to make that comeback. They've got one big final push, and looking in the points in their pockets, they do have a pretty significant amount, and luckily nobody's at like that much, so the cap should be relatively quick. There's a ton of AOS energy on the ground as well if they need to repick up more, but they've got to win a fight. Look at how many level 15s are on the side of You Need Coaching. 3, and it's all their damage dealers. Running through the center area is a cool idea, though.
Yeah, not only do they have the levels, they also still have the Rayquaza shield to give him some shielding and attacks burst. We have Gyarados being made into sashimi there. 3 members of LG have been knocked on out. 20 seconds left to go. I mean, we saw Machizel with a Ray shield here. I'm pretty sure it's safe to say that You Need Coaching have taken the second match.
I think so too, or at least their second match. This is now going to be their match point. It is best of 5. I can't believe in that final moment of the kind of this last push that we saw from LG, Overlord went down in like a split second, and that is a high level, stacked Gyarados. But they've been really prioritizing that Gyarados. We're staying on the same exact sides. Will we get the same exact bans? Will it be this into the Hoopa once again? Yes. Are we going to see the same draft? If so, I'm taking a nap.
Oh, no, you're not allowed to take a nap.
I can take a nap if it's the same draft 3 games in a row. That's in my contract, I think. That's in all of our contracts.
Well, something that can
Whoa.
stay here for a nap is a Snorlax, if it does go yawn. But yeah, this is different so far. Slash locking in this Snorlax and taking that away from Oogway.
That's a wild first pick. I mean, definitely Oogway's been doing an amazing job, and I think they just do not want that to happen again. Also, like you mentioned so perfectly, they're doing a great job of defending their backline, and they maybe want to deal with the backline a little bit more. So we're going to be trading the first pick, kind of, with Machizel being the one now to steal away that Gyarados.
Yeah, well, Gyarados didn't end up going to Overlord, so it looks like they're going to bring something different to the table. Kyrios, though, locking in at this Alolan Raichu once again, and Otter on the Mew.
I think we're probably going to see similar support lines, and yeah, JL is going to be going back once again to the Comfey, so JL can take a nap during this game. No, I'm just kidding. It takes a lot of skill, actually, at this high level. But, yeah, what Overlord chooses is going to be a really interesting choice, and I get a feeling maybe we could end up seeing not necessarily just from Overlord, but maybe some speedster options coming out from Trainer or Overlord this time around, just so that they can try to get to the backline a little bit more. And hey, we're going to see it from Overlord, a pick that we haven't seen from him, or maybe we did see it earlier today, but it's one that he hasn't been picking for a while recently, which is that Dodrio, and I do wonder what build it's going to be, because at this point I never know.
We don't know because final preparations are still to come, but we are talking about one of the biggest threats on You Need Coaching. Latano has been able to lock in this Inteleon once again.
Yeah, just kind of for free. And I think the idea here is that now they're going to have a lot more options on the side of Luminosity Gaming to deal with Lutano sitting in that back line. But now Uguay is going to be on the Lapras, who's going to help and try and defend and body block and everything that you need to do. Still going to be a little bit more difficult, especially with, just the fact that Overlord is now playing the Speedster alongside Trainer. So we'll see how it works. Lutano is going to be a really important part of this. Like, whether he's a part of the match or not able to be a part of the match is going to decide a lot of who makes it forward.
Wait, what do you mean, not a part of the match?
Well, when you get KO'd over and over by people diving you, then you're not a part of the match, really.
Well, I mean, one good thing for You Need Coaching here is don't think they're too upset about Slash picking up this Snorlax because Lapras is such a great counter into these special attackers. Being able to soak up a lot of that damage from Otter and Kyrios. Once it hits, I believe it's like around the level 8, level 9 mark, they actually have the highest special defense.
Yeah, it's also going to be able to, it's got that passive so that if there's any big chunk damage, then it's going to be able to stop that, which is really nice against, sometimes, I guess it is mostly multiple hits of damage, I guess, from the other team. I was thinking that maybe there was one, but regardless, it's just going to be a very survivable Pokemon. It's going to have a little bit of crowd control to help and make sure that they're not going to dive. And there's a reason why we've been seeing Lapras happen to show up a lot more as time has gone on over the course of this weekend, and we'll see. Big changes for the draft for the first time. Luminosity on their final chance here against You Need Coaching. All teams qualified, but if they move forward into grand finals, it's that much more money.
Now we do have LG on the purple side, You Need Coaching on the orange. We actually have Zacian taking the central area this time round as Machizel is on this fish, chasing down Overlord, just trying to get this effort gauge filled up.
Now, while I did say that I was like, I have no what build we're going to see from Overlord, I do, of course, assume that it's going to be Tri-Attack, but again, every single time that I say something, assuredly, I am wrong. So we're going to see a very aggressive path up top. That scoring is pretty big from a Chisel. Scoring is a great way to build up that gauge if you can, of course, flop all the way across the path. Oh, but getting KO'd is not going to be good for the gauge if that does happen, but no, Overlord's actually getting turned on. Otter going forward, but no, the Electro Ball not quite enough.
No, it wasn't enough because of the shielding that tier 1 pad was available for Vin Diesel, but they ended up only taking that red buff. No blue buff for them. Looking for that level 5. We do have 4v4 up in the top path.
Yeah, this is kind of a battleground. It's like a single path game at this point. Oh my goodness, that's so much damage to everybody on LG. Is it 3 members going down? It is. That's huge. Otter now potentially being the 4th. They are going to chase them down. Probably not going to be able to get quite enough damage. Otter will be able to get back, get that healing. But that's, if you want to shut down Lutano, giving him a bunch of KOs early in the game is possibly not the way to do it.
You know what you could call that? You could call that a spicy meatball fight there for Lutano because they are already at that level 6. Obviously, level 7 is what they're looking for so they can get their snipe shot. But this rotation is really interesting, how they've been left up in the top path to try and defend. But shortly, we'll have another set of birds spawning. But first, they need to try and deal with Uguay. The rush is in.
Oh my goodness, the 2 members there, 3 members now just down again for Luminosity Gaming. They've been losing the game even when they're ahead by a ton early on, but this time it's You Need Coaching. Maybe we'll see the return, the backwards, the flip-flop where Luminosity Gaming is going to win off of a comeback, but this is certainly the best that You Need Coaching has looked in the early game against LG all day, and they're just going to continue with it. Can Vin Diesel get this, kind of a 2v2 here as there is JL assisting, but great eject button to get away from that solar beam.
Yeah, back to safety. Got a heal on up. 25 seconds left to go until the first objectives do spawn. First, we need to deal with these birds. We do have Kyrios at level 7 just chunking away a bunch of damage from range. So far, these teams are just playing it safe.
Ooh, okay, finally return KO. That's actually really big. Overlord's been behind by a bit, but did get KO'd, and Wait, no, I'm sorry. That was okay on an Overlord. I mixed up, I think, what the graphics said. So this is looking continuing to be more and more dominant. Look at this, already level 9 on the Zacian. Can they get this last hit on the Registeel? They will. Uguay not really going for that much of a steal, realizing they were going to take a ton of damage, but trading objective for objective, and with this tier 1 goal zone already gone, it's heading towards this tier 2. I wouldn't be surprised if either they try to push in this Regieleki, or they try to take anything in the center area. It does look like they're going to be taking the tier 1 goal zone on bottom, but Regieleki just going in.
Yeah, goes in for free. We have Machisel diving on through, actually utilizing their Aegis energy to boost up their moves. Get hit with a play with me, unable to dunk in some points as of yet, but even then, they are at 158 to 27, so pretty valuable there for You Need Coaching.
That was an interesting bait. It was like, yeah, Regieleki's going in. Come on, try and score. Right now, though, we're going to see the aggression from Luminosity Gaming trying to get back into this. Uguay getting very, very low. And, ooh, Machisel going down. That's going to be this goal zone maybe going down as well. I'm not sure exactly how much of an overdunk they got. I think it wasn't very much. Trainer's sitting at 40, so I'm not sure if the math just didn't work out for them because they were holding too many points. But regardless, getting that tier 1 goal zone is going to help them a lot. And only the tier 2's left up top now.
Yeah, it is definitely going to level up that playing field up in the top path. While Luminosity, we're falling behind. We now have 3 level 10s over on their side. Only 2 level 10s on the side of You Need Coaching. But for the time being, it's just trying to gather whatever wild experience we have. Overlord going in for a risky dunk. They do end up getting denied by that Lapras.
Right, and now they're just going to immediately rotate down. They realize that the Lapras is actually kind of not in position to potentially fight down here for this objective, so they're going to be the ones to rotate down. Machisel popping the Unite just to try and stay alive is going to get a ton of damage on multiple members, forcing the Unite out from Otter just to try and stay alive themselves. Uguay's going to come in for some support. Vin Diesel as well. Kyros, look at that, just so extremely low. A bunch of members of LG, honestly, escaping this fight at very low HP, but that doesn't mean we're going to get a little bit of a reset before this Regirock fight begins.
Yeah, but we do have Gyarados that is at half HP, but that isn't going to stop him. They're going to land a Dragon Breath on it and try and shred it on down. We do have LG working as a team here to try and take out 1v1. Zacian has been taken down. Comfort has been taken down. Machisel has also been taken down, but it ends up being that snipe shot. Latano has done it again.
Latano's a little bit good at this game, I think. Maybe, maybe not. We'll see. We'll see how this ends up. But no, I'm just kidding. Latano's amazing, and I'm really surprised that he's able to get that Inteleon so freely once again. But a great steal to kind of keep them slightly ahead in mostly everything except for Kyrios, who is level 12 somehow. Kyrios just always ends up high level no matter what happens in a game. It's like a magical power where you get more passive EXP. I think that's what it's got to be.
Oh, it's not only Kyrios now. We already have Dodrio and the Mimikyu also reaching that level 12 mark as well. But looks like down in that bottom pass, Slashcan is just going to guard, try and bait out Uguay, who does end up getting pushed back by the block as Overlord is trying to shred him down. But, well, Lapras, it's a tanky defender, so they're able to survive that.
Right, that was like nobody was getting KO'd there. They were just kind of chilling and just being like, hey, what's up, what's up? But okay, Unite coming out to make sure that nobody's going to go down and be chasing down, actually, a lot of members of LG, as it was a good attempt from Overlord, but I think it was just a little bit too much tankiness for anything big to happen there. Looks like a tier 1 goal zone that will probably go down. We are going to be able to jump pad back, but we're getting pretty close to the end of this game. 3 minutes, 13 seconds left. I think that probably on the side of Luminosity Gaming, they don't want to get KO'd that close. They want to try to get all the XP that's on their sides. They're willing to just give up the tier 1 goal zone. They're still pretty close in points, and now they just got to prep for the final stretch.
I do want to point on out, as there was so much action down in that bottom path, we actually had LG being able to push in the Regieleki into this tier 2. It's obviously left on 18, as we have Slashcan just trying to will it down even further with those points, but going to jump over the wall, get a reset. Interesting positioning here from LG, considering we have a final basement Reggie spawning on up.
That basement Reggie, 100%, is going to be a Reggie Ice now, is going to the side of You Need Coaching. And this is...
Oh, they've broken it.
Oh, this is a very, very scary spot now. Yeah, I mean, we're down to the home base purely, so those shields could just run directly there. A huge attempt at an ambush. They're trying to bait maybe with Overlord. They're like, oh, maybe it'll just be Overlord there. Slash is going to be moving out, trying to get a little bit more vision, and they do jump in. They see Kyrios. Everybody is there, popping the Unite just to stay alive, but the rest of the team isn't there. Lapper's coming in with the Unite just to try and catch and save their teammates, but Chisel will be able to get out of most of that danger. Unite coming out from Otter, also trying to stay alive as Kyrios is getting hunted down by Vin Diesel. Both of them extremely low. 2 members down, 3 members down for Luminosity Gaming. Vin Diesel very low. Rayquaza down to half HP. Oogway and Trainer with the 1v1 where Trainer's barely winning, but they're going to have to steal that away. They're so low, and it's going to be Unique Coaching taking the Rayquaza in game number 4.
216 to 237. 2 members of LG are still down. 80 plus another 50 to bring them up to 517 points. This is going to be Luminosity's last chance here, because if Unique Coaching are able to run away with this, they're going to make it into the grand finals, and, well, that's the end of Luminosity for today.
This is such a tough situation. Luminosity have so few points in pockets. We do see Overlord with 40, Kyrios with 24, but everybody else is at 0-5-0. They've got to basically run through and get a bunch of KOs, but the level lead is against them once again. Level 15 for Vin Diesel sitting on this Zacian. Slash is going to be the first one to jump in as they're going to flank around the side. We'll see what Unites are even available, but Otter just getting KO'd immediately. Trainer as well. That's 3 down. Kyrios is going to be the next one in line as Overlord is the only one left. And with the KO timers, I think we're safe to say that Luminosity Gaming will be going out at 3rd place as Unique Coaching continue their ridiculous losers bracket run up into the grand finals.
Into the grand finals, locking themselves that travel award as well, which is huge for them. Otherwise, definitely a big old nap from that Snorlax, because that was an exhausting match to fight.
Oh, yes, it was. But, I mean, amazing job from Unique Coaching, winning 3 games straight. Specifically, obviously, credit to everybody there, but Lutano, what a monster. What an absolute legend.